with the newly elected Eastern Cape ANC leader. Oscar Mabuyane says there won't be issues around divisions within the provincial party after what's been a turbulent elective conference. Mabuyane is also Premier of the Eastern Cape, was re-elected as provincial chair after the 9th conference was marred by delays and disruptions. He beat his contender, Babalo Madikizela, by 150 votes. Nearly 1,500 were cast.
We are looking forward to 2024. We don't have time. I can tell you there will be no issues after the conference of division in the province. People will go back to their structures, regions, sub-regions, clusters, zones, as well as branches. Focus on branches, build strong ANC. We've seen branches of the ANC here in the province still getting more than 90% support in deep rural areas and also in our peri-urban areas. So we'll be focusing on that. As we were winning elections as well in the last week in the by-elections, that still shows that the leadership of the ANC in the province, even the outgoing one, has been enjoying a really amazing support across the socio-political spectrum or socio-economic spectrum.
Well, that's Oscar Mabuyane speaking a short while ago. Our reporter Mbali Thethani, she's been there all weekend. She's there for you now from East London. Mbali, good afternoon to you. How's the news of Mabuyane's victory, the announcement being received there?
Well, of course, Stephen, a number of the delegates here just broke down in song and jubilation as we saw the re-election of Oscar Mabuyane to the chairperson of this province in the Eastern Cape. And of course, just coming into this conference, a number of them busy calling out and chanting, saying, "Uyabuya," meaning he is coming back, and indeed he did come back, and he retained that position, beating Babalo Madikizela for the top job in this province. But of course, just joining us, Stephen, we know that only one female made it to the top 5 position in the Eastern Cape. Her name is Helen Sauls August. And of course, she's coming back into this top 5 and serving a 3rd term. Congratulations on your position as Deputy Secretary.
Thank you so much. Been a difficult road, but yes, we've made it here with the branches.
It was indeed, when looking at the build-up to this conference, a number of people were saying it will be a close call between who becomes the chairperson of this province. But I must say that it has been a really great victory for the camp that you belonged to heading into this conference.
Yes, well, obviously, there was a discussion, obviously, for continuity and also having a strategic objective, what we want to achieve with the leadership. The branches basically inspired us to continue, came to us. We did not nominate ourselves, came to us to stand again for this term. And on that basis, obviously, that is how the process unfolded. And I think we are humbled by the branches having that trust and the faith in us to take the province forward, and also coming out and being so patient to ensure that they ultimately vote and ensure that the elective leadership is elected in a democratic process that can stand the test of time ultimately.
Coming to the issue around women, is a very important question, that gender representation of women at the helm. You seem to be the only one. Why is it that we still continue to see this trend in the ANC? And surely this is something that is still quite concerning, that we're not seeing a lot of women in the very top leadership of the province.
Well, yes, it's a positive and a negative one. But we must always understand that this is a road that we have to fight for. Our democracy was not gained overnight. We had to fight for it as women. And I think also we need to understand that if you look at the delegation here, the province, the majority of women are. But the process, unfortunately, in our branches, that is, I think, where we need to be very, very strategic in making sure that we have more women at the end of the day. So, yes, it's because also it's how comrades align themselves in the democratic process, and then obviously the trend emerged. But I think we don't need to be apologetic to say that really we do need more women in the top 5 of all political structures, of all political parties. We have achieved this a lot in government, and I think as the ANC, we need to strengthen that to show women that you can lead. Our foot soldiers on the ground during elections is 80% women that gives us the victory in by-elections and during elections. Even now, it is overwhelmingly women that came into this conference and voted for us. And I think also the positive is that not only Helen that stood here, but also Comrade Wezewe stood. So you had two women contesting for the position, obviously, but in this group, only one female emerged. So yes, we have a lot of work that we must do. We must start speaking with one voice. And I think if as women, if we can do that in the organization, then we will gain more traction. Our issues need to be dealt with as women. Gender-based violence, femicide, unemployment, the skilling of women, the security of women. We need to deal with those issues, but we need to start speaking with one voice, irrespective sometimes how we differ from a lobby group. We need to sometimes just rally behind it, and we hope that in future we will see that. Yes, I must say, I think a lot of women wanted to see something different, but it's just the dynamics of the branch nominations that brings forth this process.
Helen, something else that I just wanted to touch on is, of course, the issue around the challenges facing the Eastern Cape province. You are serving now in a third term in the leadership. What will you be doing differently? A number of the delegates here in the beginning of the conference saying there needs to be change in this province. There needs to be a drive of the infrastructure development. There also needs to be the issues of addressing unemployment. What will you be doing differently this time around?
Well, obviously you must look at from a political perspective. We are a political organization. So first and foremost, our duty and our obligation is to make sure that that political program is implemented. Firstly, as an ANC, to pursue unity and renewal for this term. That is very important. But then secondly, correctly, we have deployees that is strategically deployed in government. So we need to ensure that they follow the line of march to ensure that, one, there is economic opportunities for our people in the province. Issues of good governance. Zero tolerance towards corruption must be it must be a mantra for each and every member. So obviously we've set the tone. A lot of work still needs to be done. We are at the back foot in the Eastern Cape with a lot of disadvantages. But I think the opportunities, if you listen to how the President spoke, the commitments that he has made to assist us in unlocking the catalytic province in the Eastern Cape, it is our time now that in those processes we need to ensure that we affirm women in all of those processes. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Of course, that is Helen Sauls-August. She is the Deputy Secretary. Of course, the issues they're addressing, some of that around addressing the woman question in the ANC. She is indeed retaining that position, and of course is the Deputy Secretary. But Stephen, what is very important around this is indeed which slate won here. And this slate is indeed that who has been supporting President Cyril Ramaphosa. So this will be playing a very important role for the ANC when they head to the December conference in Newzroom.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Mbali Thethani. Important to note that there'll be more conversations about that as we go through Newsfeed, the importance of this election on the national picture in December.